For this, I would like to invite on stage Miss Sandra. Let's welcome her with a big round of applause.
Thank you, everyone. I'm just testing. You are able to hear me clearly? Great. How many of us had good lunch? Really good lunch? Oh boy. I'll try and make it as engaging as possible, but if I catch anyone nodding, I'm going to assume you're trying to practice the Power Nap initiative that you're going to roll out in your organizations. All right, welcome everyone. Good afternoon. I want to start with just imagine you are in the year 2030. Just take a moment, 5 years in the future. I do a lot of future visualization, but I want to take you to a specific space. AI dominates industries, redefines workplaces, is the backbone of decision making. Who do you think will thrive? Any guesses? I see a lot of smiles. The person who makes the change now and takes and moves towards the top 1%. In this complex time, it is extremely crucial to look at the art of leadership in new lens, in the lens of complexity, in the lens of adaptability, and the lens of change. I'm sure if I ask you, think of a leader you admire the most. You'll have an image or a name come up to you. Can you hear? Do you have a name or image in front of you? Can I see a raise of hand? Yeah? It's not about the skills and experience, right? It's about that person's adaptability and a sense of evolution. So it gets extremely important for us to move into a space where we are growing, we are learning, we are constantly evolving, and that makes us the top 1%. Now, why am I talking about becoming 1% the age of AI? In the first half, when I was actually sitting there at the back, listening to everyone talk about AI tools and content developers may not be required in the near future. Not sure whether leaders and trainers and coaches will be required in the future. But I have a slightly distinctive perspective on that. I still feel that human intervention will still be needed in the age of AI as well. Do you agree? Any of you agree?
Yes.
In the last 15 years, this has been my passion. Not just my passion, my calling. It took me 3 years to find out, a decade ago, actually nearly more than a decade ago, to find out what I'm meant to do. And I just immersed myself in all kinds of transformational tools there are in the world to find out how do you unleash human potential, how do you change human behavior to make you the top 1%. I've had the privilege to coach, run leadership development programs for organizations like Google, Accenture, Schneider, Tata's, etc. But what was most exciting was coaching the top 1% leaders. Some of them are unicorns, some of them are famous sharks as well. And I realized that their thinking patterns are so unique. It's extremely unique. And I wanted to capture that not just for myself, but the people I serve as well. And I'm going to share some of that with you. Would you be interested in finding out what that is? The true coach comes to me. I want to hear some validation from the group. Are you keen to hear that?
Yes.
Perfect. Before that, let's understand where we are. We keep talking about leadership skills, leadership development, but we are right now at the time of extreme complexity, and everyone agrees with that, with AI and generational differences. I was speaking to somebody in lunch. I said, never before somebody's talked about how to run and understand a certain generation. Generation Z has become such a buzzword. Nobody bothered about Generation X's and the millennials before. I feel kind of left out. I mean, nobody did work around them. Gen Z is getting a lot of attention. So the generational workplace, I don't think we've ever had a time where we had so many generations at work, and all of them with their unique needs, unique talents. On top of that, AI coming in, it's completely complex. For me, it's baffling. What's next? And so when we look at a leader today, a leader needs to be juggling and running at the same time. and gets even more complex tomorrow, not today. Tomorrow with AGI, quantum AI, AI agents that may take over a lot of expertise. And traditionally, leadership has been about being the master, having the expertise, to be the go-to person for all answers, and then eventually being the generalist, the T-shaped leader that has a breadth of experience. But not anymore, because the expertise and the mastery hat is going to be taken over. Your AIs and AGIs and AI agents are going to take over expertise. What happens to leaders then? What happens to you and I? It's going to be extremely critical for us to pick up some unique skills and talents to control AI and to be able to take that over. But what I've realized, especially in the last 3 years, and most of our clients are tech clients, so we are literally running with them, adapting with them, changing with them. Our content is moving so wildly, and we're realizing that there are 3 reasons that it's extremely important for us to start looking at it now before it gets too late. The first is for us to stay relevant. And I don't know what relevant means. I really don't know. I took you 5 years in the future, 2030. I really don't know what that looks like in 5 years. So it's extremely important for us to be relevant. It's extremely important for us to be ahead of the game, and it's extremely important for us to operate at a high impact zone. Look at what impacts the world, what impacts the society, what impacts the technology, what's next. While we were doing this work and working with leaders, we came across something beautiful. We came across some elements that were common with the top 1% in the world. And I call them mastery in motion. Earlier, it would be just moving to a space of expertise, to be a master, to be able to network, to be able to influence people. Pretty linear. You'll see leadership is linear. You're going up to a summit. But now with the new complex world that we're living in, mastery for me is in motion. It's circular, and it needs to move constantly. There is no summit. There is no endpoint. It's constant evolution, it's constant resilience, it's constant innovation. That's the new leadership. That's the new leader we need to look at. There was this video I saw, and please Google it up, or it's on YouTube, by Geoffrey Hinton. He's known as the godfather of AI. How many of you have heard of Geoffrey Hinton? Not bad. So you probably know what I'm about to say. He says one of the greatest risks to humanity is with the AI is human beings for the first time will become the second most intelligent species in the world. Second most. We will no longer be the most intelligent species. How do we adapt to that? How do we lead, knowing that we very soon will not be the most intelligent species? And that's where mastery in motion comes, what sets the top 1% apart. Now, I'd love to share with you, and this whole talk is about giving things to you, what I've experienced, what our team has experienced working with leaders, to share some part, and at the end we'll give you a little more value. There'll be a QR code for each one of you to get some value to understand what your mind flexes. But the 7 key elements for mastery in motion is this, for the top 1%. It starts with mastery of mind flex. Now, the reason I call mind flex and not mindset, it's about constantly flexing your mind. As we are growing, as we're evolving, there is no stop. So leaders, top 1% leaders know that there's this constant evolution happening. Look at Indra Nooyi, who kind of broke the top 1% barrier a couple of decades ago, being a woman leader in a male-dominated industry, in a male-dominated geography as well. Being an immigrant, she kind of broke through that glass ceiling and became the 1%. And often she talks about how she overcame her own barrier, her own mindset, her own imposter syndrome. The top 1% leaders are constantly aware of their traps, look at where they're falling into, and pulling themselves out of it. This has been my favorite. I've been kind of working on it quite often, and I nearly fell in it earlier today when everyone was talking about AI and the tools, and I was falling under the FOMO, fear of, am I missing out, what's happening? And then I had to kind of hold myself and stop tripping myself. This is something I'll share with you at the end of the session and go a little deeper on the first one. The A in mastery is being agile. Top 1% leaders need to know that they need to be agile. Businesses are pivoting. Things are being invented every year. So agility, changing fast, looking for change, embracing change is one of the skill set for your top 1%. The S, most important, is the state. And when I say state as in your energy. Peak performance. How many of you have heard some leaders have a very strong ritual, physical, mental, spiritual rituals? You'll see them getting up at 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning, priming themselves before work. I don't remember in the 90s leaders going and running for marathons. Never heard of that, or being very particular about the diet, particular about the food, particular about the rituals. Now it's extremely important leaders, top 1%, realize that for us to unleash or break fit, you need to have a strong peak performance state. So energy is really, really important in mastery. The T is tenacity, which is for me discipline and persistence. Even though things are not going straight, we continue doing it. We've heard of Thomas Edison, 10,000? Was it 10,000 or 1,000? 10,000 ways of not to invent a light bulb, right? I don't think. 9,999. Perfect. I don't know how many of us would try 9,999 times if you failed in something. That's what a top 1% understands, that it's consistency, discipline. You believe in something, you go through it, even though you don't see the light, you still go through it. They have the belief in themselves. The E in mastery is elevate people we know, or people who are in the 1% know it's not enough for them to change the world. They need to get people with them. It's interestingly, I'm sharing this in the age of influencers, where they realize that it's important to get people around. But it's not just influencers I'm talking about people like Ratan Tata, who took his people along, and not just his people in the Tata family, but people across communities, their clients. So it's about elevating people, getting people up. R for me is breakthrough results. I remember I was coaching this unicorn founder, and he happens to be a famous shark too. And while I was coaching him, he had given this audacious target, and his team was really had given feedback that he's really, really tough. He pushes the limits. He gives audacious targets. Sometimes it's not even realistic. And then in our coaching session, I spoke to him. I said, do you feel you're being a little hard with the goals that you put in place? And he came from no money, and he's built this huge empire. And he says, if I don't aim for the moon, I wouldn't be able to take over the earth. So for him, his results were always audacious, reach there. Even if I fall short of that audacious goal, I've got the earth. So that's the top 1%, looking at crazy goals which you would even get shocked looking at. The last Y is my favorite, which is, I know Simon Sinek says start with a Y. I am saying at the end, reconnect with your why. And I'm sharing this why because when we started, and my partner's also here, Gatik, when we started TransforMe, we had a very strong why to transform 1 million lives, to take this to the people that we love and bring in these transformational methodologies to people as well. But along the way, as you run your business, you sometimes lose touch with that why. And it's important to keep connecting to it. How many of you have heard of Anthony Robbins? Everyone would be, right? Do you feel he's the top 1% life coaches in the world? Do you know he has 33 businesses under him with a revenue of $1.2 billion every year? And yet Tony Robbins shows up at age 64 in every training program. He has no need to show up. He's done it, 45 years he's been training, coaching. He earns $1 billion a year, but he shows up. That's his why. I started this because I want to be with people and transform them. And he shows that. He said, I'm going to do it till I can, till the end. That's the why of top 1% people. Connect to why I started this whole journey. I wanted to leave this with you. I know we're running short of time, but I'll move this fast because I really want to give something to you. So in this whole 7 elements, we take our team through these 7 elements, but MindFlex is the foundational. It talks about, first, before you start anything, understand your own mind traps. Because if you overcome your mind traps, you can unleash anything. And I feel that's some distance for AI to also reach, because human beings, we've not been able to share everything. There's so much within us. And let's touch upon psychology a little bit, the mind, the brain versus the mind, and why do we have mind traps in the first place? I have people come back saying, how can we get rid of it? My point is, you don't get rid of it because you're designed biologically to have mind traps. The brain is designed to protect you. It is designed to keep you away from threats. A threat could be standing up on stage and speaking. That's a threat to the brain as well. It could be networking, it could be moving from different countries. And so the brain will put you away from those situations that has your heart beating, that gets you nervous. But the mind, which no other species has, is evolutionary. You want to be there, you want to achieve, you want to grow, it's transcendental. And so this tug-of-war between, and so the mind wants you to evolve. This tug-of-war between the brain to stay safe, to not try something new because you never tried, and the mind says, no, try, what if, creates mind traps. So that's how we are designed. There are many mind traps in the world, but with our work in research, we've culled it down to 6 mind traps. And I'm going to invite you, as I go through these mind traps quickly, to see what resonates with you, and just kind of raise your hand and say, yeah, that's my pet trap, because we all sit with our little pet traps, and once we are aware of it, we are able to overcome it. So the first trap we look at is, these are the 6 mind traps on the screen here. The first mind trap used to be my favorite, fairness trap. If I can do it, why can't somebody else? If we have kids, you want to share everything naturally with them. And so the fairness trap is, this is my expectation, I have done it, why don't you do it? Of course, it leads to a various costs, which you can see the screen, but that's where the fairness trap takes you. The harmony trap is about living in harmony. We've all heard that human beings are social beings, and we do not want to be rejected. We want to be included in our communities, at our work. So the harmony traps keeps us away from having conflicting conversations, to say something that will hurt people, because that's going to, then I'm going to feel rejected because I'm taken away from the community. So I will say and see what people want me to say and see, and not hurt them. The control trap is about, I need to be in control, I need to know what's happening, especially for leaders, maybe heads of family. We're saying, I need to have the answers because I'm supposed to be the protector as well, so I need to have everything in control. But unfortunately, with the complex world we are in, there's nothing in control. You can only influence, not control. The next one is future telling. I have a lot of my leaders fall into this trap, which is also an imposter syndrome trap. I don't want to do something because I know I'll fail at it. I don't want to write a book because nobody will read. I don't want to stand and speak on stage because nobody will hear me or understand me. I don't want to say, because you've kind of painted a picture in the future. So that's a future telling trap that stops you from trying something new. Then you have the protection trap, which is, I need to appear to people as I wish them to see me and not be vulnerable. So it could be not sharing things I really want to. We often do this lab work with leadership where we get a team of CXOs sit together, talk to each other. A lot of them are not able to share things authentically because there are relationships at stake. What they feel is they're protecting themselves, but when we do this work, we realize as soon as they express and they're vulnerable, people get closer to them. So there's stronger bonds when they're vulnerable. Perfection is, I need to do everything perfect, otherwise I'm not going to try. That's the last trap. And these are the 6 major traps that we work with people, and how do you overcome it? Any of you kind of resonated with any traps here? Yeah? Perfect. What I'll do is also at the end, is it there? No. At the end, I'll just share a QR code which just scan that QR code. It's a short survey. It'll tell you your pet trap and how do you overcome it. This is a longish session we do it. I don't think I've ever done it as fast as it. That's fast. But just look at the QR code, and if you have any questions, I'm there. Avinash, Kartik, Jagrati is over there, and reach out to me for any questions. But my only invitation is to be the top 1% we can all be. It's not about perfection. It's about just being there at the right time. It's about claiming opportunities. All of us can move in that direction. Most of you work with people, you're HR leaders, L&D leaders. You are the architects of leadership. So let's work together and create a leadership that's future-looking and impacts the future. So stay uncomfortable and stay hungry, people. Thank you. It's on QR code.
Thank you so much. This was an insightful session. Thank you for your time, ma'am.